And good evening, Elite Dangerous Commanders, and right on! It is fantastic to be here once more for one last time. I am conducting a 4-week tour of my favourite things in Elite Dangerous, and you are all welcome along for the ride. So it's fantastic to have you. The chat is already going a bit mad, which is awesome. Lots of familiar names in there, and lots of new ones as well. So lovely to see you all. Thank you very much for coming on. I do appreciate the company. So we are embarking on a 4-week epic lore tour of the old school type. Okay, so we are here in Horizons, and apologies to those of you who've had to swap from Odyssey to Horizons. I didn't appreciate that might screw up your keybind, so I do apologise for the inconvenience, and I'm very glad that you're still able to join me for my farewell lore tour. So it's fantastic to have so many of you here. Welcome to all the old timers, everybody from 1984 onwards for the original Elite course, everybody who joined me on previous tours, and obviously to everybody who is here who is new as well. So it is fantastic to have you on board. I've seen a few people in the chat who've never been here before, so welcome to you, and looking forward to showing you around all my favourite things in Elite Dangerous before I move off to pastures new. So yes, I am finally going, which I know will be a great relief to many people. And I know I've kind of gone before. We are boldly going where no one. Oh, I know Drew has gone before, but I'm moving on. I'm moving on. It's time for me to do something different. I've been here for 9 years doing Elite Dangerous, and many years before that. It's time for me to do something else, which I will be doing, and I will leave Elite Dangerous in good hands, I'm sure. So the next 4 weeks are going to be a celebration of my favourite things that I've seen and done within a limited range, because obviously we can only go so far. And because, Elite Dangerous is all about the community, I wanted to bring you guys along for the ride as well. So, with no further ado, let's get on. Let's get on. So, where am I? I am in Mad J. Wagar's space station. Here we are. If my OBS will work, yes, it does. Yay! So, Mad J. Wagar's is my Kickstarter award. Who remembers the Kickstarter? Who was here? Who was here when the Kickstarter kickstarted? Those long years ago. 2012. So this is 9 years. It's a little bit more than 9 years actually. It's 9 years and a week or so. Okay. So for those of you who were there right at the beginning of Elite Dangerous, the Kickstarter says hello and welcome. It's been 9 years. I mean, that's just insane. So it's been a long time. So tonight's episode, we have 4 episodes, okay, 4 episodes, and we will be going through various different things. Tonight is all about the origins. I don't mean the origins of the game, I mean the origins of you, the commander who is in Elite Dangerous itself. So thank you very much for all the chat. I'm not going to be able to keep up with it all that well tonight because it kind of goes too fast, but hello, and anybody who's in the chat, lovely too. So keep chucking your comments in. I may pick up on a few of them as well. So so there we go. So here Drew does not look younger, Leo Sagan, than he did 9 years ago. I can assure you of that. Anyway, I've got to remember how all this works. So if you are in game, right? Okay, just so how we're going to work. Okay, so just recap of the rules. We don't do PvP. All right. Okay, we don't do PvP. None of that's malarkey. This is a private group. If you want to be in game with me, and apologies to console owners, there's no crossplay. I can't do anything about that. I've only got a PC, but please follow along with the Twitch, follow along with the YouTube afterwards. The hat takes years off. So no PvP. What we basically try and do is I try and tell everybody where we're going to go, and then I'll give a bit of preamble about what we're going to do. If you want to join me in the instance, we'll figure that out. It's luck of the draw kind of along the way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll get to our destination. We'll try and regroup in a place, and I'll kind of tell you where that is on the stream. I'll talk a little bit about it. Now, in the last sort of half an hour, 20 minutes or so, what we have to try and do is attempt to break the Elite Dangerous servers. This is very popular with the Frontier support guys, because it basically stress test is their environment for them. We try and do a little bit of wing roulette, where we wing in and wing out and try and get as many people into the instance as possible. And tradition dictates that we have to do a hyperspace jump simultaneously with each other to some MIDI music that I myself have tried to compose to be as epic as possible. So let's we'll be doing that. Okay, we'll definitely be doing that. So anyway, right. So let's go. Right. I am in, as you can see, Mad J Wagar space station. So this is my Kickstarter base. I am here in a classic Cobra Mark III, of course. I mean, what else could I fly for my initial part of my lore tour? So that's what I'm in. I am already in a wing now. If you want to be in my wing, it's kind of first come, first served. So whoever gets there first, when they see me log into the game, which is usually about 10 minutes to the hour, that is basically when you've got to be there. And I've got some familiar names in my wing: Commander Golden Knight, Commander Zenith, and Commander Bell. So that's awesome. Nice to see you, and hopefully the instancing will be full as well. We will do our best to get you all, as many people as possible, in the instance for the end game, which is a hyperspace jump, a mass hyperspace jump to some MIDI stuff. But let's get moving. Okay, so Mad J Wagar's back from the Kickstarter days. I'm going to launch out, if I can remember how to fly my ship. Here we go. Let's. I've done this for a while. It's not quite the same as No Man's Sky, is it? Right. Let's get out of the space station. I can fly my trusty HOTAS as well. So our first stop on the route. Origins is what we're talking about here. Our first stop on the route is, look at all the number of commanders that are here. Lots of empty arrows. Who have we got? Our first stop on the route will be Lave, okay, the planet where it all begins, hence Origins. Okay, you probably figured this out. There are quite a lot of commanders here. So who have we got? We've got Commander Ares Dragon, we have got Commander Hox Lightyear, we have Commander Benway, we have some instancing. Commander Wildcat is here. Let me scan through. There we go. Commander Rhyhopper. I'm going to have to scan them. It's going to take ages. There's loads of people about, which is awesome. Let's go to the external view just while I sort things out. If you can see me, we just get a little bit further from the space station. There we go. If you can see me, form up with my ship. There we go. Let's switch the engines off. Let's see. No, not that button. That button. There we go. Let's see if we can get a decent external view. There we go. Ooh, I'm going backwards. Let's go forwards. That's definitely going to work better. Right, there we go. I'm just departing. Right, we're going to make our way to Lave. Okay, now Lave is the planet from which all the elite adventures began. Many long years ago. So it's not too far away, but that's where we're going to initially go for. Okay. So set your hyperspace jumps to Lave, and that's where we are going to make our first stop. I'm flying in the classic Cobra. I've seen a few other Cobras about, so well done to you guys. I'm seeing Adders, I'm seeing Anacondas. There's all sorts of ships about though. Whatever you brung is awesome. What paint job am I rocking? This is my. It's a sort of, I don't know, scintillating something. It's a sort of silvery colour for this one. This is the ship I actually did take to Beagle Point a long time ago. The first time I did Distant World 1, I took the ship to Beagle Point. This has been to the core and off to what used to be called Wagar's Reach on the original Galaxy map, now unfortunately long superseded. This ship is the Robert Holdstock, which is named after the most venerable Robert Holdstock himself, who was the creator of Rexler, the Dark Wheel, and all those massive legends who that we still enjoy today. So that's why the name of my ship. In fact, if I zoom in, hopefully you'll be able to see that. There it is. There you go, just about see it. The Robert Holdstock, named after the man who wrote the original novella for Elite itself all those years ago. Right, so hyperspace. We've got plenty of things to do. We've got to go off and do some things. So set your wherever you are, wherever your instance you're in. Hopefully it works. Set your course for Lave, which isn't too far away, but we'll have to get. We need to get a move on. Stuff needs to happen. There's a few jumps for me, so there we go. Right, now my just to introduce my Cobra Mark III is mildly engineered. Okay, I've got various bits and pieces in it. Guardian frameshift boosted up the jump range a bit. Various other bits and pieces. It's had a bit of work done to it, but it's still a relatively basic ship. So, right, so there we go. Hopefully my wing will come with me. Hopefully everybody in the instance will come with me. Let's make a jump. Actually, now, before I go, I do want to just say a huge thank you. I almost forgot, that would be outrageously bad. To all of the fleet carriers. I mean, look at the state of that. I really do appreciate everybody who has brought a fleet carrier along today and parked it in my system. There's more fleet carriers in here than anything else, which is awesome. So there's some very familiar names amongst these fleet carriers. So outside Mad J Wagar space station, let's start from the beginning. We have the Fat Fook Noodle Bar. We have the Vadrigar, excellent. We have the Tritium Depot, very useful. We have the Tionisla, seen the Tionisla many times. The Michael Moorcock reference for those of you who know your sci-fi and fantasy. The RVS Volta. rrof.co.uk. We have the Pilgrims of Ennui. We have the Jupiter Mining Corporation Red Dwarf. We have the fat bastard. Remember Salome. We will remember Salome. Okay, that's awesome. In terms of brandy, well, I mean, Levy and brandy, gentlemen and ladies. So cheers. You've got to have everything for these kind of trips, right? We have something that I can't pronounce, the Prakodeat, I think. The Resurrection, the Sisters of Mercy, the Of Course I Still Love You, the Tritium Depot number 3, the Aurora, Night on Earth, Constellation Freedom, the Raxler Respite, I like that, the Ferrite Squirrel. That's a little bit of a No Man's Sky reference, I think, because I kept having to mine some ferrite, so I couldn't quite get it right. Anyway, so that's the Ferrite Squirrel. Squirrel is my nickname, by the way, in case you didn't know. The Bulldozer, we have the Gattico, we also have the DVFC Far Beyond Driven, we have Moon's Spawn, we have the Storm's Nest, Destiny's Angel, the Anzac, the Sagrada Familia. Oh, that's the cathedral in Barcelona, isn't it? Moscow's Pride, FGB Let's Go Brandon, the Tritium Depot number 4, and the Valhelm. I think that should be a song, Tritium Depot number 4. It sounds like Mambo number 5. Anyway, there we go, Valhelm. Right, onwards we go. Right, it's Lave it is. Hyperspace ho, everybody. Let's go. I think I'm still getting some friends requests. Try and get these to me before the event, otherwise you may be disappointed, okay, because it takes me a while to get through them, so hopefully we right, various different people. Some people can jump to Lave, of course, in one go. I can't do that in my what was I doing? Hyperspace galaxy map, there we go. I think I've set the course, haven't I? Yeah, so I'm going to make it's going to take me a couple of jumps, so let's get that underway. Hyperspace engage. Right, maximum power, off we go. My battle cry is wait for me. I love it. So Pickled Grunions, the Ferret Squirrel is my ship. I do appreciate the in-joke there, thank you very much. I suppose I want to point my ship in the right direction. That's going to help, isn't it? Right, rock and roll. So there we go. So yes, so as we proceed, this is really just sort of a celebration of all my favourite things in and around the bubble. We won't be going on massively long expedition. The last episode, which is titled Salome, will be a little bit more of a long trip, but I will advise you on that a little bit more. Where are we going? We are heading to the Lave system, Lave, and I'll explain why when we get there. Oh look, my hyperspace dethrottle has been engaged. We don't talk about the hyperspace dethrottle. We're not talking about Imperial couriers either, okay? I've put myself a 100% rule. I'm not complaining about anything tonight, okay? Nothing at all. There's going to be no complaints. I'm just here to have some fun. Okay, so let's get ourselves across to Lave. Now, for those of you who don't know the significance of Lave, right? This is a very, very important system in the lore, okay? Because Lave is where it all happens. Yeah, let's head to Lave Station, because Lave Station is the place, okay? So Lave Station in the Lave system, makes sense. We're going to go there, so that's what we're going to do. Dan Jabba, those frames you're getting now, stop it. Stop it, we're not going there. Most, to be honest, the reason I'm using the Horizons client, to be honest, is twofold. One, I know it works on my PC, and I've, as I've tried many times, I couldn't get Odyssey to work reliably. And B, I know there's an awful lot of people who I would like to be able to come tonight and in the next few weeks that haven't bought Odyssey anyway. So if I start it in Odyssey, then they can't interact. So Horizons is the common denominator. That's really the only reason for choosing it. So here we go. Techeron, in game there. 07, glad to be back. Greetings from Achenar. Well, we'll talk about the Empire, I'm sure, along the way. That'd be awesome. But we're going back to what's called in the original lore the Old Worlds. Okay, they're sort of steeped in mystery and magic and all sorts of weird and wacky past history. And it goes back a long, long way, about 200 years before the time in which we're sitting now. Obviously, the year is 3307. But the lore we're talking about here is from the year 3125, so 175, no, a bit more than that, 182 years before the present time in the game. Right, there we go. So there's Lave Station. So that's where we're heading. If you haven't seen me yet, go there, and we'll rendezvous outside Lave Station. Whatever you do, don't go to the Orange Sidewinder, all right? We'll talk about them. Don't go to the Orange Sidewinder. That's not where we want to go. Right, so set that throttle. I'm just trying to remember how to fly my ship. Somebody else has sent me a friend request, which is fine. Try and keep up with those, so that people have the best opportunity to join in the game. Okay, so Lave Station. Here we go. Let's get ourselves into the place. Yeah, so as most of you will probably know, but some of you may not if you're new to Elite Dangerous, the original game Elite came out in 1984 for an ancient 8-bit computer called the BBC Micro, and then it was ported to many other computers at the time. And many of us old people, okay, many of us old men, were basically playing this game as teenagers. Okay, so I first encountered Elite at the age of 13, and been playing it ever since. So it's a big part of my life, and all sorts of fun and games has resulted in playing this game all the way back from then. And when you started the game back in 1984, you started here. Okay, this is where you started. You started in the docking bay of ta-da! Lave Station. Wintermute says, "I am not old." Oh, we come out the back of a Lave Station. That's a bit of a weird effect there. Don't know what that was. Right, there's a few people. Look at that. There's people clustering around the entrance. Okay, people clustering around the entrance to Lave Station. So head over there. We'll talk a little bit about how important this place is. Okay, because I'm not old. No, age is just a number. It's just a very big number. It's just a number. You're quite right. Alright, so here we go. Lots of ships here. So if you can get yourself outside the front entrance to Lave Station, let me just get in front of the entrance. I'm going to turn around, point at it, and we'll see how we can do. That sounds to me about right there. Let's throttle back, turn around. I'll put the external camera on so as many... That's not bad. Didn't do too badly there. Right, I might zero throttle this out. Yeah. Right, let's get external camera, zoom out a bit. And then I can... You guys should be able to range yourself in shot if you're in my instance. So there you go. There's my ship. There's Lave Station doing its thing. So back in 1984, this came out. Okay. Ta-da! I've shown this many times before, but this is my original copy of Elite. For my ZX Spectrum. Now, I didn't have a BBC because I was poor compared to all the rich kids who had BBCs. But the ZX Spectrum got its copy of Elite in 1985, and I got it for Christmas that year, and I've been playing it ever since. Now, inside these boxes, because computer games used to come in boxes, okay, they were much, none of this digital download malarkey. They came on cassettes and floppy disks and all sorts of things, and you got a big box of stuff to go with it. It tells you about the Thargoids, and it tells you all about the background of the game on the blurb. It's done properly, proper old school. Inside the box you have the The manual. Who remembers manuals for space games, right? Space Traders Flight Training Manual. Okay, so that's one thing. It's got some interesting stuff called the Dark Wheel. What's all that about? We'll get to that. It has, what else do I have in here? I've got a keyboard overlay control guide. Yeah, it tells me which keys to press and stuff. That's very exciting. And then also I've got my copy of how to use. This is DRM for the 1980s, which is this hateful little device here called a lens lock. Okay, this is how you used to have to break into your program. You had to bypass this little thing. And if you don't know how to use this, count yourself lucky. Okay, but there's the actual box. Look, and at the bottom of the box, finally, you get to dun dun dun. That is actually it, my friends. That is the original Elite on cassette. How old does that make you feel now? This is Drew's Antique Roadshow, exactly right. Now, if you know the relationship between this item here and this item here, you are old. Trying to make you feel better. There we go. So that is it. That is the original Elite. Okay, look, there you go. You loaded it. It took about 4 minutes to load off the cassette. So a long time ago. So all that stuff goes back into the box, for safekeeping. It's all treasure as far as I was concerned. Okay, really, really good. But what do we learn about all this? Well, the Space Flight Traders Manual tells you all sorts of stuff. It's a really well-written piece of stuff. Actually, it tells you all about alien ships and interplanetary travel and all sorts of stuff like that. There's the Cobra doing its thing in space, and it tells you about what's going on, etc., etc., etc. Really, really, really good. But this is where the legend, this is where the magic started. Okay, this here. Okay, this is the Dark Wheel. You can just about see that. Sorry, the green screen is screwing up the colouring a little bit. But the Dark Wheel is the book written by the legendary, there he is, Robert Holdstock. Ooh, hold it up properly. Robert Holdstock. He is the man. Okay, he's the original. I'm just an imposter around here, really. Some people have called me the Lore Master. It's not me. Okay, I am not the Lore Master. I am just a pale imitation of he who must be, exonerated. Robert Holdstock was the man who kicked off everything, right? He wrote this book, The Dark Wheel, and he penned The Dark Wheel, okay, the Raxler, everything about Raxler. This all starts here in this little book, and then I'm just going to read you this very small piece from the beginning, okay, because this is literally chapter 1. All right, okay, this is story time with Drew Wagar, live in Elite Dangerous. The space station spanned gently away into the shadows. That space station there, okay, the one you can see on screen. And the small Ophidian class vessel shuddered as its motors angled around towards the faraway jump, predecessor to the current hyperspace technology. The planet Lave, ta-da, where we are, below, rotated in blue-green splendour. There were storms moving across the Pelubrian Sea, 6 great whirls of pink and white cloud. Okay, for some strange reason they didn't read the lore description of Lave, they changed the colour of the planet. They were approaching the continental mass that was first full, promising a bleak, wet few days of the swathes of forest and the deep snaking valleys that cut through the rugged land. The cities of both humankind and Lavian glittered amongst the verdant blanket below, like bright shards of glass. That is where we are. Okay, so here, at Lave Station, 175 years ago, your ancestors from the 1980s, this is where they started their journey. So this location is absolutely fundamental to Elite. It's fundamental to Elite Dangerous because this is where everything begins. The Lave Station. All pilots used to have to pass their flight tests here prior to the introduction of things. Now, Lave was in the lore, Lave was the kind of administrative centre of an organisation called Galcop, which underwent a political collapse many decades before the current time of Elite Dangerous. That political organisation, Galcop, no longer exists, and it's kind of been replaced in Elite Dangerous by the Alliance. So to give you a flavour of what Galcop was like, it was quite similar to the operation of the Alliance, but it no longer exists. Yet Lave Station is still here. And so if you really want to start the beginning of Elite Dangerous, you have to dock at Lave Station. You have to get yourself a Cobra Mark III, and then you have to launch from there. That is the true beginning of the game, all right? That's where it all began, all those years ago. So, and the 1984 game will start you in the Lave Station. Now, what is particularly nice about Press the wrong button. What is particularly nice about little homages made in Elite Dangerous for the original game is if you look at the galaxy map in Elite Dangerous around this area, you will notice that Lave, Zeonce, Tionisla, Orere, Uza, Dizo, Listi, Arev, Quator, they are actually systems from the original game. They exist in the original 1984 game. They exist here still in Elite Dangerous. So it's touches like that that over the years made Elite Dangerous special to those of us who love the old games, to make sure there was continuity, there was a purpose between all of those kind of things, and connecting up all the ancient lore to the modern stuff and trying to make sure that the whole thing stretched all the way through. The original game was set in the year 3125, so 182 years ago compared to now, and that is that's the continuity of all the kind of games. So Lave Station, this is where it began. All right, this is where it began. This is where the Elite story begins. Okay. Ridquat, yes, I forgot to mention Ridquat. Now, in the original game, you didn't go to Ridquat because you would die a horrible death, because Ridquat was an anarchy system. In the original game, anarchy systems were incredibly dangerous. You didn't go in there until you totally and utterly upgraded your ship. So there we go. So that's Lave Station. Now, the other thing about Lave is there's lots of lore history associated with this. Now, one of the writers who worked with me early in the days of the game, who is connected with Lave Radio, actually. So there are a number of people who, if there's anybody on from Lave Radio, I don't know if there is, but hello guys. Lave Radio has been broadcasting from their Orange Sidewinder for about 9 years, possibly a bit longer than that, actually. And one of the authors, Alan Stroud, did write a book called Lave Revolution, which, if you haven't seen it on Amazon, it's worth getting, because it basically tells you what happened to this planet. So it's a good read. Go and enjoy that, Lave Revolution, by Alan Stroud. It talks about the background lore to the Lave system exclusively. It's specifically there. So there we go. So there we go. So that is Lave. So lots to discover. If you look in the contacts here, you will see the Orange Sidewinder. Already mentioned them. Okay, so the Orange Sidewinder is basically in the game where Lave Radio supposedly broadcasts from. So I have been told that it's not a good idea to tangle with the Orange Sidewinder. So apparently it's an elite level combat ship with its AI. So even though it's a Sidewinder, it's actually quite dangerous. I've never tried that. There is some history. Okay, so Walden's Dictatorship, that is a reference to Alan Stroud's book. You can find out a little bit more about that. Always worth going to visit these points of interest, these POIs in these different systems, because you will find out some background lore stuff if you didn't know it before. And there's another one here called The History of Lave, which you can find out some more. So read the books, play the game, go to Lave. It's something you've got to do. Okay, if you haven't been here before, why not? It's the beginning of the game. This is so important. Okay, it's really good. Right, so next on the stop. So that's the first game. Okay, that's the first game. This is where the first game starts. Now, one of the places that is mentioned very early on, okay, in the game, is that the pilot in this game, in this story, the Dark Wheel, doesn't have a ship to start with. Okay, so when you start the game, you get a Cobra Mark III, but when the pilot in this book starts, he doesn't have a ship. Okay, he has to steal a ship. Right, he has to steal a ship from somewhere else, and he steals a ship from a very important place. I'm going to go there next. So set your hyperspace coordinates for the Tionisla system, probably my favourite system in the whole of Elite Dangerous. Steeped in the lore. This is basically, if there was anywhere more deep in the lore than Tionisla, it's yet to be found. Okay, so Tionisla, it's not far away from Lave. It's one of the original systems of the game. Let's head over to Tionisla, because this is a special place. Right, for those of you who are on screen, set course for Tionisla. Let's turn around. Off we go. I'm just going to make sure I don't ram anybody, because only in a Cobra Mark III. Tionisla, there you are, 7 light years away. Now, it's interesting that it's 7 light years away, because 7 light years was as far as you could jump in the original game. You could only jump 7 light years at a time. and that was a limitation of the game, the way the game was designed. But in the lore, your hyperspace engines could only make that level of jump. Now, there's multiple types of hyperspace technology in Elite and Elite Dangerous and all the other various different versions. And if you want to see more about that, I've got some lore videos that you can go and find too. Hyperspace is absolutely one of them, and you can go and investigate that. So, right, let's just see if I can add a few more. Defending fresh, there we go. Right. A few people hyperspace. Well, that's pretty already. This is good. Let's go to Tionisla. So off we go. Engage. I love those hyperspace effects. They're still good.
3, 2, 1.
Now, the story of Tionisla has mostly been compiled and detailed by my dear friend in Elite, friend of many years, Mr. Dave Hughes. Now, I don't know if he's here tonight either, but he is creator of an organisation called the Tionisla Historical Society, which is in game. It's not actually here anymore. I think it's in a different system, but it is. It's an organisation that does exist in Elite Dangerous as well. Put the names in chat. That's not a bad idea. Okay, we're here. There we go. Now, in the Dark Wheel, this original book. Okay, let's see if we can head. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head to. Where is it? Okay, Curious Transmission, partially decoded. Okay, that's where we got to go to. Okay, Curious Transmission, partly decoded. So head there. And I'll tell you a little bit about that transmission when we get there. That's where we're heading for. So my friend Dave Hughes, he catalogued all of the historical information. Now, the timeline that many of you have seen on the Elite Dangerous wiki, and in fact, the timeline that I've got on my hard drive, which is officially NDA, which is very slightly different to the one on the wiki, but not very different. Because I'm not allowed to disclose it because NDA, right? I think I'm going to do my first loop of shame. I'm coming in too hot. Oops. Yep. I thought I'd adjusted the speed correctly. None of this flight assist cruise stuff. Okay, I don't do any of that. There we go. Looks better than this way around. Like a nice crescent planet. There we go. Yeah, 5 second ball. I thought I'd got that right, but never mind. Dave Hughes catalogued all the information there. If you look in Elite Encounters, you're going to have to find it online, okay? Which is the original RPG for Elite Dangerous. There are two. There's the ED RPG, which is one of them, but before that there was Elite Encounters, which is the original RPG. Now, inside that RPG book, you will find all the detailed lore of not only this system, but many other systems as well. So it's definitely worth getting just for that. If you're into the lore, the Elite Encounters RPG book is probably the best place to get all the original lore, because Dave Hughes was one of the original. I'm just skimmed straight over the beacon. Let's go back. Head to that beacon in the centre. There will be quite a few cruise ships hanging around here as well, which may have a small impact on the performance. There we go. I'll just park there. Let me get my external view so you guys can all do your thing. In fact, can I get the planet? Where is the planet? I can't find it. It's there somewhere. There's the planet. There we go. Where am I? I've lost me now. Oops. Oh, there I am. I'm sort of upside down. There we go. There's the planet. Tionisla, me, and the beacon. That'll do. Right. Okay. So the Elite Encounters RPG by Dave Hughes. Go and look that up. That has the closest thing to a comprehensive, written down lore guide that you're going to find for the whole of Elite Dangerous. It covers all the history. It covers all the up-to-date stuff as well. So if you're really into your lore, that is the tome you need to buy. Okay. Really, really good. So that tells you all about Tionisla. Now, what's supposed to be here? And the reason that this beacon exists is, okay, I'm going to tell you because it's in here. Okay, the Dark Wheel. And the Dark Wheel was originally based, so it seems, out of the Tionisla system. Now, so I'm going to skip forward, and it's, if you haven't read this, it's actually available online. You can go and dig it out. There's a PDF online version, actually provided by Ian Bell, who worked with David Braben on the original Elite. So you can go and check that out. So let me see if I can go find it for you. Right, so here it is. So and there's basically plot summary up until this point. Okay, so young lad has been aboard his dad's ship. He's been attacked by pirates. He's been chucked into a escape pod. His dad's ship has been blown up along with his dad. He's basically then picked up by a rescue ship. He's taken back to the space station at Lave. They give him a little bit of money to kind of get going, and then somebody contacts him in the dead of night and basically says, you need to do something because your dad wasn't just killed by accident. Okay, so dun dun dun. All right. So it says here, Rafe chuckled, you're going to hunt him down, are you? Hunt that cobra, because it was a cobra who killed his dad. You like to hitchhike or use a big stick? You're going to need a ship, kid. Hunt like with like. So get yourself to the wreck place at Tionisla. I know just the vehicle you need. Don't speak to anyone. Just get to Tionisla. But, au revoir, Alex. Okay, right, so chapter 3 then. The best way to see the wreck place at Tionisla is to approach it from the sun. Tionisla itself is a bright yellow star, and cemetery is always between the planet and the star. So there's supposed to be a wreck place, a cemetery, a graveyard in the Tionisla system. And that's because it says so in here. This is the original story, this is the original lore. It's got the Dark Wheel in it, it's got Raxler in it, and it's got the Tionisla orbital graveyard in it. But alas, it's not here. It's not here. Okay, the only way to see the Tionisla orbital graveyard in an Elite is to pick up the Olite or double O light version, fan version of Elite, and load it up as an add-on in there. That's the only way to see it, which is a real shame. Now, it was promised to us by Frontier. They actually said they were going to do it back at LaveCon in about 2015-2016. It was due to arrive in version 2.2 of Elite Dangerous, back in the Horizons pre-Beyond days. They confirmed it was coming, and everyone went yes, and it never arrived, and it was quietly forgotten, and I don't know why. It's really sad. It is my biggest bugbear with the game overall. Yeah, forget Imperial Couriers. Forget everything else. And I'm not going to complain because that's not the point. But it isn't here, okay? I can't show it to you because it doesn't exist. And it should, because this is the fundamental thing in Elite lore. It's where the hero gets his first ship. It's where the Dark Wheel starts from. It's where Raxler starts from. It's absolutely everything. The Tionisla orbital graveyard should exist at this very point in the game. Okay. However, it doesn't. I can't show it to you because it doesn't exist. What I did do is during some of the work that I did, I sneakily ensured that it was going to sort of at least have a memorial in game. So some of you may recall a Galnet message from many years ago that basically says unusual message detected, and a new ship has been interred at the Tionisla orbital graveyard, and a curious transmission was sent. Now that curious transmission is represented by this beacon. So during the Salome event all those years ago, there was in fact a Cobra here that represented what was supposed to have happened in the Galnet article for those events. So that beacon there that I now have in the centre of the screen with a lovely dark Cobra with some green lights next to it, is effectively in Elite Dangerous all that is left of the Tionisla orbital graveyard. This is the location it should be at, and that is it. The Tionisla orbital graveyard. That's all we have in game, sadly. But there we go. Like I say, I'm not complaining about it. It just never happened. It was promised, it didn't happen, didn't get delivered. I don't know why. Real big shame, I think. But at least there is this little marker. So for those of you who love the old lore and want to go and visit the Tionisla graveyard, I'm afraid all I could do for you is leave this beacon here. But this beacon is in the position that the Tionisla orbital graveyard should be. Okay, that's the best we can do. So there we go. So if tell you what we could do actually, with all these ships, that if we all shut down our ships, It would be a spaceship graveyard, wouldn't it? So look, we have in fact created, finally, after all these years, this is the Tionisla Orbital. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Tionisla Orbital Graveyard with a whole bunch of busted ships. So if everyone can agree on stream that all of their ships are currently busted, and they're all going to die here, then this is in fact the graveyard. There we go. So that is the best I can do. It's you know, it feels good. Look, everyone's firing pack hounds and blowing stuff up. Excellent. So well done, everybody. So that is the Tionisla Orbital Graveyard. It's a huge significance to the lore of the franchise. Huge significance indeed. But we cannot tarry. We have more to do. We have more to do. Now, that was the original 1984 game. Our next stop, my friends, is the really, really exciting ROS 154 system. Okay. So let me just whack that in the chat so everyone knows where we're going. ROS 154. There we go. That's where we're heading next. So set some stuff. Look at my scanner. It's gone insane. Let's see if I can get back there. Pending critical guests. There we go. A few more of them coming in. Right. Head jumps. Actually, even Horizons is slowing down a little bit here with my my frame rate because of the number of people. But there are a lot of people here, as you can see, which is fantastic. So welcome everybody. I hope you're enjoying yourselves and having fun. This is the main point of these tours, right? So ROS 154. That's where we're going next. It's a little bit further away, near Barnard Star. I'm pretty sure that's the right system. Let me just double check. It is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Right. So we're going to the ROS 154 system. So try not to bash each other on the way out. There we go. Follow me if you're in my instance. There will obviously be a small delay on the stream. By Achenar says an Imperial ship is far too beautiful to be considered part of the graveyard. There we go. Yes, Sirocco Station. Who knows? But there we go. Wing beacons on, commanders. I will do my best. How do I do that again? I've forgotten. Something to do with settings, wing beacon. I can't remember how to do this. Oh, no, it's in here. It's in the options, isn't it? Enable wing beacon. There we go. Okay, so onwards we go. So we're going to jump across to the ROS 154 system and find out a little bit more about that. So follow me there, folks. Follow me there. Hyperspace engage. ROS 154. Engage. So we're leaving Tionisla behind. So the old worlds of the original game are now disappearing into the distance. They were, of course, all procedurally generated names. So the way the original game worked is it connected bits of kind of phonemes, really. So LA was one option, and VE was another option, and it connected those. And whilst it was procedurally generated, David Braben and Ian Bell had to sort of choose the galaxies that they wanted to exist. They wanted them, certain stars, certain distances apart for gameplay reasons. Because of the random nature of the way the things were chucked together, occasionally you got rude words, so they couldn't have that. There was in one universe a planet called Arse, which I really wish they'd left in. So that would be awesome. But alas, the planet Arse does not exist. It's an urban legend, but it was in one of the procedurally generated galaxies that they sort of threw away in the original game. So, and there's probably a few other rude ones along the way that got generated by procedural generation. So who knows? Maybe there is a planet Arse out there somewhere. Who knows? Wouldn't it be fun? I don't know how many jumps have I got to do to get there? Let's find out. I can't remember. Because the Cobra's okay with its Guardian frameshift booster, but it's not like super long distance. Jules, can you watch this in YouTube later on? Yes, you can. I am recording it as we speak. 2 jumps, so it won't take us very long to get there. And it will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards. Which will annoy all the people who I said it was my last YouTube video, because I'm just doing it to wind them up, basically. The planet Arse would have been legendary. It would have been. It should have been left in. But such were things. They were a bit more sensitive about some of those things back then, particularly with computer games. You didn't want to get yourself into trouble. So that was good. So that was good. Now we are heading to the Ross 154 system. So in the lore, this is another important planet. It's not really important, but it's historical, shall we say. It's not probably all that important in the lore, but it's certainly a place of historical interest, and we need to visit it for that reason. Okay. So we're heading in there. I'm one jump out now. Let's get that sorted out. Try not to cook my ship on the way. There we are, Ross 154 system. Now, for those of you who are astronomers will know actually this is a planet that does actually exist, or at least a star that does actually exist. One of the lovely things that Michael Brooks spent many, many long hours sorting out for us, for our benefit, is the original set of stars that are in the Elite Dangerous Galaxy, because he basically downloaded the star catalogues, all the star catalogues basically, as they were in 2012, into a massive spreadsheet, and used that to populate the Stellar Forge, which is the mechanism that creates the galaxy for us. Now, the vast majority of the galaxy, of course, is procedurally generated, which is why we've got all those memorable names like Sinufe D112-HYCF2B something, you know, all that sort of stuff. That's the procedural generation part of it. But the stars are real names. Many of them, you know, do actually exist. And so those of you who join me, well, am I getting a blue tunnel? It's because it's tradition. Uh-oh. Or maybe something weird's about it. Maybe it's the Dark Wheel. Oh, it's Frontier. What's happened? Oh dear. Something's busted. Oh, no, it's worked. There we go. Don't know what happened there. It just took a little while to come out. Right, we are now Ross 154. Now we are going to, now that we're here, let me show you the galaxy map. We are going to, not the galaxy map, the system map. We are going to, okay. Now, Merlin is somewhere from where it's the game starts, okay, or a game starts. Now, unfortunately, we can't land on Merlin as we could in the second game. So the reason we're here, we're going to go to Merlin first, just to sort of check it out. But there's nothing orbital here. So actually, have we got? I'm going to maybe choose one of the fleet carriers, which is, has anybody got a fleet carrier with an appropriate name? Furiosa, Quantum Cartographics, Battlestar Behemoth, I like that one. Marty McFly, Great Scott, Ames Den. I was hoping somebody would have named their Sirocco station, but they haven't. Never mind. I should have thought about that in advance. Let's choose one of the ones that's closest. Okay, so let's go to the Dawn Stars Arc. So everybody head for the Dawn Stars Arc fleet carrier, and we'll just hang around there, okay, for a moment. Then I can explain to you what's important about this system. He says, having been heading in the wrong direction. Right, so there we go. Flying away from the start. So the original Elite game, 1984. Okay, then many years later. Okay, so 1993. So 9 years, oddly enough, 9 years later, along comes Frontier Elite 2. Frontier Elite 2, which was released for the PC, very early PC. For the Commodore Amiga. Who remembers Commodore Amigas? Give us a cheer in the chat if you're a Commodore Amiga type, especially the old original A5. Was it the A500? I think that's the original one. And also, if you remember the Atari ST. So that was really good. I just noticed the chat has seems to have ground to a halt on the screen. So is it? Oh, there it goes. No, it's caught up again. There we go. Everyone's here with the A500s. Yay! And of course the Atari ST. So if you had an Atari ST, you can join in the cheers as well. So that's quite good. They were the kind of classic 16-bit computers of the era. So who remembers them? That's very cool. Oh, look at that! Look at the proby things going out. That's very cool. Okay, so we are. This is working out quite nicely actually. We've got some quite good angles here. So there's the gas giant Aster in the background, and you can see also the moon Merlin coming up. All right. Boo Atari ST. Don't start that again. More playground battles. Classic stuff. It was always like that, of course. Back in the 80s, it was, you know, ZX Spectrum owners, BBC owners, Commodore owners, always fighting in the playground. All right. There were some other kids who had old computers, but we didn't talk to them. Then of course, back in the 90s, it was Atari ST versus Amiga, and I remember when I was at university, I did have some friends who were on both sides of the camp. I never owned either of those computers, actually. I've only ever used them, but you know. There's always the guy in the Commodore Amiga side basically going, I've got an emulator for my Commodore Amiga that allows me to run Atari ST stuff faster than Atari ST can actually do it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then there was the guy, and there was the Atari ST user saying, yeah, but I've got an emulator for my Atari ST that can allow me to emulate the Amiga faster than the Amiga can run. And everyone was like, hang on a minute. If you could do that, why don't you just keep emulating each other's computers? And then you'll have an infinitely fast machine. So it was all good natured. There was a bit of fighting going on, but there we go. So I'm a fond of both. Am I allowed to say that? I mean the Amiga was technically more impressive, but I do remember the ooh, what happened there? Oh, I'm here. Interesting enough, what happened there? I'm 9 million kilometres away on the opposite side of a planet. That's a bit weird. Okay, right, bear with me. I think I got dropped out of hyperspace in some weird way there. Well, suddenly there was a planet in front of me. Can we all agree, as iconic as it was, most things were better than the ZX Spectrum? No. ZX Spectrum is, I'm afraid, the ultimate computer, in my humble opinion. I will take no detracting. Working as intended, so there you go. I will try and join you again. I've ended up on my own. I didn't think I was anywhere near the planet. I thought I'd gone past the planet. So, right, okay, so it's green screening again. Here we go. This was always the problem with doing these lore tours, is the game will sometimes conspire against you to prevent anything cool from happening. So now we get to admire the hyperspace entry special effects. Now, is it going to be a taupe cobra, an orange sidewinder, a black adder maybe? I've only had the black adder a few times. This is the problem with Blue Peter demos. Okay, I'm showing off Elite at its very best. Come on. Sir Edmund Isnera, yes, the black, yes. David's getting me back. Yeah, Frontier have basically logged on. They basically said nope. Joy. At least I have the Lavian brandy for these situations. I don't think I can do anything at this point, can I? What can I tell you about hyperspace and frameshift drive? Well, actually, the frameshift drive is interesting because the frameshift drive arrives in the year 3300, only 7 years ago. It's the club, it is. And it seems to have become it's part of the hyperspace mechanism. You'll notice when you charge your frameshift drive for low wake into supercruise, it says frameshift drive charging. But also when you charge your hyperspace drive, it says frameshift drive charging. So I think this is busted. Which is a shame. Nope. Oh. Hey, Orange Sidewinder. It's those guys from Lave Radio again. Well, it wouldn't be Elite if we didn't get one disconnection, would it? Let's try that again. Apologies to my wing of people who will now be all disconnected again. So anyway, give somebody else a chance to join my wing. I broke the game. Yes, it's got to be done, right? There we go. So yeah, right. So I've left my wing. Let's try and get into frameshift drive again. Oh, someone sent me a wing. Oh, here it goes again. 3, 2, 1. Will it work? That's not working. Ah, dear. Right. Oh, no. I always put my drink down. Right, where am I going? Right, I'm supposed to be heading for, where do I say I was going? The Dawnstar's Ark, because I like the sound of that. That sounds like a cool place. Right, I've locked the destination. Let's get there. Apologies, my friends. I've got the wrong combat mode. It's far more exciting than the exploration mode, isn't it? Let's get over there. Now, I don't want to get too close to the planet. There it is. Okay, so I've got wing invitation. Who was there first? I can't navigate. Oh, there it goes. Right. I don't know who was first. I'm going to have to choose somebody randomly. Hang on, let me get out. Let me sort this out though. Did I get that? Great. Come on. Is everybody here? So many people here. This is the problems. Yay! I've got to the Dawnstars. Hopefully, there's somebody in my instance. Right. Let's go for the wing invitation. Let's see who I've got here. Let's go back down. I think I'll do the one at the bottom. Maybe is that going to be right? Delta 37. Let's try that. So, fingers crossed. Right. Here is the Dawnstar. I don't know who owns the Dawnstar. Oh, now I'm leaving wings and stuff. I'm not sure what's going on. So, anyway, welcome to the Dawnstar. There's somebody here. Who else is here? Commander Slinker Deer is here. So that's quite cool. That's right. So where is? So I'm there. Hopefully, a few of the rest of you are about here as well. Let's switch to external view and let's see if I can get the. There's the star. Where's the planet? There we go. Okay. So now this is. Here's my ship. Now that's a pretty good view actually. That's not bad at all. Let's go with that. So what you have on screen here is Stinker Dinker Waves. Hello. There we go. What we have on here is the moon Merlin. Okay, the moon is called Merlin. The planet is called Aster. And we're in a Ross 154 system. So, back in 1993, the original Elite game. 1993, the second Elite game comes out. Okay, Frontier Elite 2 with, and I will have again no arguments on this, the best theme tune ever in a computer game. All right. A really kind of upbeat, funky sort of space opera type kind of game. It's very, very cool indeed. And that game started you on the surface. Okay, that game started you on the surface of this moon. Okay, so down there is supposedly it doesn't show up because it's not a landable planet in Elite Dangerous, unfortunately. And there's a nice crate parking in front of the camera. Good to see you there. The J. Alien Hynex, I think it was. So that is basically where the second game starts. So down there on that moon somewhere is a base called Sirocco Station, and that is where the second game originated. You started on the surface of the planet, and one of the things that Frontier Elite 2 had, which graphically it's not even close to comparable to Elite Dangerous, but because the graphics were simpler in those days, the game did have atmospheric landable planets. You could land on anything you liked in the game pretty much, and this planet was actually not as you see it here in Elite Dangerous. So some strange stuff has happened here. This moon was freezing cold. It was a fish mine. This is where you mined fish, and it was a curious sort of pastel-y sort of place with lovely geodesic domes protecting the occupants from the harsh atmospherics outside. So for some strange reason in Elite Dangerous. And this is only 200 years later than the second game. So if you remember back, the first game of the year 3125, the second game was set in the year 3200, so 100 years before Elite Dangerous. And somehow in that time, the entire moon has been terraformed to be a nice Earth-like world. So you're kind of scratching your head a little bit as to how that happened, but that's basically how it worked. So So this moon is where the second game began. So that's why we're here. It's a historical occasion. There isn't much lore associated with this place, but this moon is the place where the second game began. So it's important to pay it a visit. So now, interesting enough, the gas giant in the background is called Aster, and in the original Frontier Elite 2 game, it was there in the sky as you started the game, because one of the things that Frontier Elite 2 did was it did a very, very passable simulation of the universe itself, even back in those 16-bit days, and you could see Aster sitting in front of you. The good thing. Now, one of the weird things that's a bit weird is that in the second game and in the third one, Aster was a gas giant, as you can see it here, but it had rings. So for some strange reason, in Elite Dangerous, all the rings of Aster have gone. So whether or not, the only lore explanation I can think of is that they mined all of the rings and they dumped it on the moon here in order to maybe give it an atmosphere. That's the only explanation I've got. All right. So maybe there was some amazing terraforming work that went on in this system. They took all of the ring material from Aster, they dumped it on the surface of Merlin, and somehow turned it into an Earth-like planet. I don't know. It's one of those things again, which is a bit of a shame, and I'm not going to complain. Okay, I'm not going to complain, but it's just like little bits of attention to detail like that would really go a long way to just making the game connect with its past, and making the lore make sense. So for some reason the rings have disappeared. Don't know why really, and for some reason this moon, which never used to be inhabitable, in that, i.e. you could walk unaided on the surface with an oxygen atmosphere, somehow now is a jolly nice place. Okay, it was all done in 100 years, so it's pretty, that's pretty darned impressive, right? So that's where the second game started. Okay, that's where the second game started. So the rings were transient and got pulled down to Aster. Well, I suppose that's vaguely plausible, but it seemed fairly unlikely in 100 years. And then maybe they used a space dredger to hoover it all up, because the space dredgers are pretty darn big, but there's a lot of rings around a planet like that. So there we go. So anyway, so that's why this particular system is important. So back in 1993, if you had an Amiga, you had an ST, you had a PC, you would be playing Frontier Elite 2. If you want to see what that game is like, I've done a playthrough of it on my retro games channel on YouTube, so you can pick it up there if you are interested. Look, there's some fantastic ships showing up. I can see an Imperial Courier there, some Clippers, there's more Cobras, Anacondas. Always good to see all the Courier, and that's the Cutter as well, isn't it? So good to see some ships. Very, very cool. Right, so onwards, my friends. We must keep moving. We have much to see and many places to go. So let's move on. Right, our next destination is the system called Gateway. Okay, system called Gateway. I'll just type that into the chat. That's a pretty easy one to remember. Gateway. Okay, now this is close to Alliance space. Okay, so we need to head up over there and go and have a look. So into your hyperspace map, type in Gateway, and it should take you up a little bit into the realm of the Alliance. Headquarters, there we are, the headquarters of Edmund Mahon itself. Power play HQ for the Alliance. So and again, lots of lore associated in this particular part of space. Let's head in that direction as well. People are already on their way, which is awesome. So let's get over there. How many jumps is it for me? It is 3 jumps, so it's not going to take us too long to get there. So fingers crossed. He presses the hyperspace button. So there we go. So the second game was set in the year 3200. Now in that game, the concepts of the Empire and the Federation were introduced into the Elite universe. Before that game, there was no Empire, there was no Federation. Okay, there was just Galcop. That was the only political structure we know about. By 3200, Galcop has collapsed. So in the 75 years between the setting of the first game and the setting of the second game, Galcop as a political entity has collapsed. Okay, bad things happened. start. Never mind. And by the year 3200, we have the Empire and we have the Federation as the two huge superpowers that have effectively now controlled this part of the galaxy. The rumours of the Thargoids have been around, so in the original game the Thargoids did exist. We've been fighting the Thargoids in all sorts of manners since that original game. The legends of Raxler and things like that started off in the lore way before that, but were certainly mentioned in the original game. Interesting enough, the Dark Wheel and Raxler were never mentioned in the two sequel games to the original Elites. They were aspects of mystery and lore that only were associated with the first game, and didn't make a resurgence until Elite Dangerous. So it's interesting that one of the things that probably somebody's mentioned in the chat, I may have missed it, but in the original game, stepping into the meta for a moment, when you played it, it was sort of classic, dogfighting kind of almost arcadey play. Okay, so your ship would roll left and right, pitch up and down, and you had a thrust mechanism to control the speed, and so it was sort of Spitfires in space type gameplay, which is how most space games historically have been, which is all very familiar. Now in Frontier Elite 2 and the sequel to that, which we'll talk about in a moment, Frontier First Encounters, the Spitfires in space sort of mode of flying was removed in favour of quite sophisticated Newtonian mechanics. Okay, so in the second and the third game, you could your ship didn't have to be pointing in the direction you were travelling at all. You had totally separate attitude and directional vectors to your ship, which was pretty clever, particularly from a coding perspective, but did make flying the damn things pretty hard. And it took quite a lot of getting used to, which I think did limit the popularity of the second and the third game quite a bit. Now, lots of people, including me, have fond memories of those, but they were not easy games to manage. Okay, they were not easy games to manage at all for that particular reason. Did make them very difficult in order to play. Right, I've arrived in Gateway. Let me just throttle back down a little bit. We are going to go to, let's have a look at the system map here. We are going to go to, here's the planet Hope. Let's go to Dublin Citadel, because you could actually go there in the third game. So we're going to head there as well. So head for Dublin Citadel. We'll park outside there for a moment and go there. So Dublin Citadel, there he is, not too far away. So yeah, so you had all this Newtonian flight mechanics, which basically meant you could travel at all sorts of speed, turn your ship around and be flying in a completely different direction to the one you were pointing, and all those sort of kind of things. You could do gravitational slingshots around stars and planets and all sorts of cool stuff like that, which did make it astronomically fun. However, it did make the gameplay a little bit hard work. And a lot of people struggled to get to grips with it because it was almost too realistic. And so when Elite Dangerous came along, they've done the best of both worlds. You've still kind of got a sort of Spitfires in space vibe to the way the ship flies around, but you have kind of got some 6 degrees of freedom as well in Elite Dangerous with flight assist off and various other things. Now top speed is limited, partly because of multiplayer and all those sort of things, that's a multiplayer thing, to keep things realistic in stuff. But Elite has tread a very clever line, I think, with its flight model. The flight model is certainly the best one that exists for any space game at the moment, because it's got a sense of weight and a sense of mass to the ships that you fly, and you do have that drifting through space effect at certain particularly if you turn a sharp angle in a big ship, everyone will know that the ship will drift. Right, so I'm just going to park here outside Dublin Citadel for a moment. So if you want to join me, let's park a little distance away. So hopefully someone will be able to join in in the same instance, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So there we go. We are this is where the third game. So fast forward another 2 years. This is where the third game starts. Okay, not actually here at Dublin Citadel, but down on the surface, on the planet Hope, which is an important part of the Alliance. Now you may be thinking, okay, well hang on, what about where did this Alliance stuff come from? Well, the Alliance was introduced by the third game. Okay, so we had the Empire, we had the Federation introduced in the in the second game, Frontier Elite 2, and in Frontier First Encounters, the Alliance is brought into the lore. Another 50 years has passed. Okay, so the third game is set in the year 3250. Only 50 years before Elite Dangerous itself has come along. So that is where the Alliance comes from. Now the Alliance is born out of frustrations of the systems in this particular part of space kept being fought over by the Federation and the Empire. So to cut a long story short, the Federation and the Empire have a massive fight in this part of space. All the local worlds basically say this isn't good enough. We're not putting up with this anymore. The Federation and the Empire can do one, and we're going to stand up and defend our own rights to be independent. And so they do, and they form the Alliance. The Alliance of Independent Worlds is their full title. And the Alliance then becomes the third superpower in the universe, in the human occupied universe. And 50 years on from the point it was kind of created, it's still going strong in the universe of Elite Dangerous, but it's a relatively young superpower. Okay, so whereas the Federation and the Empire have been around literally for hundreds of years, then the Alliance is the new boy on the block. Okay, new kid on the block, it's a new political entity trying not to have the problems with the entrenched thinking of the other ones. So the lore behind all this is all quite interesting, and again I've covered it in great depth on some of my other videos, and lots of other people have done so as well. So there's plenty out there on this topic. But if I can summarize it very, very quickly, the Federation basically is the United States in space. All right. So everything you love and everything you hate about the United States in space with big ships and probably magnified by a power of 100. That's basically what the Federation is. Okay, it's the United States in space, and actually the law states that virtually all other countries on the Earth ceased to exist in the Third World War, which of course hasn't happened to us in our timeline, but in the Elite Dangerous timeline there was a Third World War, and the United States was the only country that survived the Third World War. Basically it took over everything else. So sorry everybody else, we lost. If you're an American watching this, huzzay, go America, because you guys won. Okay, you took over the planet, so it's all your fault. So in the universe of Elite Dangerous, the original superpower, the current superpower, the United States, takes over the entire planet and then becomes ultimately the Federation. If you like Federation stuff, it's kind of America. That's exactly what it is. And then few people. The thing is that the Federation, as it becomes in Elite Dangerous, is someone's bashing my shields with their massive clipper. Oh, now he's got in the way of the camera. Let me back off a bit. So we got look, and somebody's got a little bit of lore here. Look, whose ship is this? I can't read the name of it, but I saw the registration number there. You see on the side of that clipper, the registration number is TY198. Okay, now that's a piece of old lore. The registration number of the first ship that you flew in Frontier Elite 2 was TY198. So whoever's flying that ship, kind of getting in front of the camera and just being annoying, does at least know his lore. So cheers, thank you for that. So where was I? So the Federation in space, right? Okay, is kind of the United States. So everything that we kind of associate with America, lots of capitalism, lots of corporate stuff. Okay, lots of advertising, lots of materialism. Right? Dare I say that? Is that fair? is the Federation. It's kind of the United States on steroids in space. Okay, so it's very, very corporate, very, very capitalist driven. That's what the Federation is in the Universe of Elite Dangerous. Now, a few people got fed up with that, okay, and thought, no, we can make a better world, we can make a better life, we can go off into some distant corner of space and we can start again. And so they set off with really high ideals about making a new republic and a new thing, and just starting from scratch and being really, really cool. And the lady behind this expedition, she was very, very enthusiastic about this. She got all the way there, and her plans were going really, really well up until the point that she got assassinated by her brother, a certain Mr. Duval, who then basically said, "No, sod all that. We're not doing all that New Republic stuff. We're going to have an empire." And so founded the Achenar Empire. It was basically the first major political assassination of the era. Destroyed that those founding principles that his sister had worked on, and founded an intergalactic empire, which still stands today. So the Achenar was founded on bloodshed and destruction, originally through dissatisfaction with the Federation, and then became an empire. Basically started wiping out lots of indigenous life on the planets it settled. The Federation got a bit upset with this. Lots and lots of wars. This is the potted history of the entirety of Elite Dangerous, by the way. They've been at war ever since, pretty much. And the only reason the Empire wasn't wiped out fairly early on by a technically, superior Federation force and outnumbered by the Federation is the Federation basically tried to take the fight to them on their turf, and the Empire basically held firm and destroyed the Federation supply lines, and thus the Empire was able to continue and thrive. And over the centuries, these two rival superpowers now pretty much hate each other very much. So if the Federation is all kind of capitalist and merchandise and advertising and materialism, whereas the Empire is all about class. Okay, the Empire is all about not what you know, it's who you know. It's all about style. It's all about show. It's all it's all about being seen to be seen and being famous for the sake of being famous. All that kind of stuff. Okay. And it's an interesting political entity because when I was doing the law years and years and years ago, it was described to me as basically, okay, so it's kind of the British Empire, that sort of arrogant kind of we are the superior beings kind of thing from many decades ago, when the British Empire was a thing. It's kind of that sort of arrogance and snobbery and in-your-faceness combined with sort of the pre the Roman Empire, the sort of Roman Republic style of structure. So you've got all the patrons and you've got senators and you've got all this sort of stuff. So it's a fascinating political entity to me because such a society doesn't exist on the earth today. We've got a lot of capitalism, we've got lots of socialism, we've got we've got dictatorships, we've got communism, but we don't have kind of imperial republics. There aren't any. So it's a really kind of interesting place to write about and do stories in. So that's the Empire. Okay, so the British Empire crossed with the Roman Republic in space with classy spaceships. All right, that's basically the Empire, centered around the star Achenar, which is quite a cool place. So then you have the Alliance. Okay, so the Alliance is basically born out of frustration with the other two. So then you have these three systems. So that's why the Alliance is important. Now, there are loads and loads of history between the Alliance and the Thargoids. The Alliance is technically far more innovative than the others. All right, and Togas, definitely Togas as well. Classy spaceships is a matter of opinion. Only if you're wrong, Frank. They have the best ships. Sorry, period. I am a big Empire fan, as you know. I would say that. As one of my characters was quoted as saying, yes, we may be snobby and arrogant, but at least we're good at it. So you can go look that one up at your leisure. So they're very swish. Form over function is kind of the empire. Though they do like function, but form is very, very important. There's nobody who isn't classy and aware of what they look like. Okay, the alliance is much more chill. The alliance is much more okay. We've got some jobs to do. Let's get on with it. They tend to be technically more advanced. So in the lore, all the cool technology that has either been siphoned out of alien species or things like that. The alliance is the technical innovator. So if you want some cool tech, the Alliance is the place to come. Okay, that's what the Alliance is kind of mostly about. And if I've likened the Federation to the US in space on steroids, and I've likened the Empire to kind of the British Empire and the Roman Republic in space on steroids with classy ships, then the Alliance is kind of like the EU. All right. Kind of like the European Union. It's a bunch of worlds in this case rather than countries which have come together for a common purpose. So they share things in common, but they have their own individuality. So the worlds of the Alliance aren't subject to each other, but they agree on certain principles. And so it's kind of like the European Union in space with high-tech spaceships. That's basically what the Alliance is. Okay, so that's the closest I can get to describing it. In terms that make sense in modern in kind of modern politics. That's basically what the Alliance is. Check my friend requests. Sorry, yes, there's a few of them coming through there. Let me just go and add those. Now we are 21 minutes past, so we need to have a think about moving on. Because we need to get some places. Now, it's only fair. Now, I'm not planning to. We've been to the Alliance. We will go to the Sol System. Okay, we will go to the Sol System. But I do want to make a trip down into the Imperial space while we're here, because it's kind of a cool thing that needs to be done. There's no opportunity to do it on the rest of the tour, so I am going to head towards Achenar. Now I'm aware that not everybody may have the Achenar permit, so I won't stay there too long, and we will do the hyperspace jump from outside of the Achenar system. But let's head to Achenar. For those of you who do have the Achenar permit, that is where we're going. I won't stay there too long. I just want to talk a little bit about it. But if you do have the Achenar permit, then that's where we're going to go. So there we go. New friend requests. See, they're still popping in. Let's get those done while we're here. Do try and send me friend requests in advance of the evening. It just makes things a bit easier for me. Okay, guys. So right, Achenar it is. Head to the Empire, my friends, and we will continue the story. Off we go. How far is it to the Empire? Galaxy map. Oops, let's press the right buttons. Oh, it's a little way, isn't it? 213 light years. That's going to take me a little bit to jump, but that's okay. So head in that direction. And we will choose. How many jumps is that for me? It's only 6, so it won't take us too long. Let's rock and roll. Back to my true home, Checkeron. Yes, so I feel like I'm an Empire man, really. I'd look good in a cobra. Not in a cobra, in a toga. In a toga in a cobra. That's what I need to do. Just wait for the... Let's just put full pips to engines. Should have done that already. There we go. Right, on my way. So we're heading down through space. Okay. So we will just in case there are some people on the stream who are flying alongside us that don't have the Achenar permit. You probably do, most of you, but let's just make sure that we can in fact do a hyperspace jump from a system which is not permit locked. That would be a bit mean. So head to Achenar. A toga in my cobra. That's right. So while we're on the way, one of the things again, a beautiful thing about Elite Dangerous, which I've always enjoyed, is the travelling around through space like this. It's a spaceship game, so you travel through space and do things. Look at it. Now again, to talk about Michael Brooks. Now Michael Brooks, some of you will fondly recall from the early days of Elite Dangerous. He hasn't been seen much. He still works at Frontier, I believe. He's still on my Facebook friends list and pops up things about Cthulhu mostly, and his dog nowadays. But But he created, he kind of created the galaxy. For him, with the original star map, okay, the original version of the Stellar Forge and all the stars in it. I had some issues, and the star map was a bit late, okay, because we were writing, me and the other writers, we were writing our books for Elite Dangerous before the game came out. So the Kickstarter happened in 2012, and in 2013 we were writing the books after that, with only technical guides to the game. There was no game, and I had actually finished my first book, Elite Reclamation, prior to the game coming out. So the only version of the game that I saw, while I still had sort of editorial control over the book I was writing, was the alpha. That was the only version of Elite I actually got to see before the books were finalised. So you may, reading the books now, go, hang on a minute, well, he's not mentioned this, he's not mentioned that. That's because none of those things existed. They hadn't been invented yet. So there are some inconsistencies with the early books now with the game as it is today, because some of those features just hadn't actually been coded. But Michael Brooks took this massive spreadsheet of all the stars that were known to astronomy, whacked them into Elite Dangerous, and created this environment. And so, the fact that the backdrop there is realistic. So if you were in that system, that's what it would look like, pretty much. If you go to Sol and you look at the stars and you know your astronomy, you can see the constellations. They're in the right place. The stars are in the right place. And if you go to the nearby stars, you can slowly see the star pattern shifting around you. That is exceptionally cool. There's only one other environment that I've seen where that happens correctly, and that's the independent, not really a game, but it's kind of simulation space engine, which is the only other thing that I'm aware of that kind of does that properly as well. So it's very, very cool. So that sense of realism, that sense of travelling through real astronomical phenomena is really, really good. And it's been good for me to see things like the pulsars. We will go and see a pulsar during the trip, and we're going to go and see a black hole, and we're going to see some of the other spatial stuff. That will come up, because those things are very, very cool to go and see. And the fact that some proper astronomy is in the game, I think, is great, because who doesn't want to take their spaceship and go visit a black hole, right? But also the fact that there's an opportunity to learn a little bit about black holes and neutron stars and pulsars and white dwarfs and all that kind of stuff. They are real things that exist in the universe, and they probably don't look all that similar to what we see in Elite Dangerous, but it's a good approximation in certain levels, particularly the pulsars and the white dwarfs, I think. In fact, one of the things that may surprise you about the neutron stars is most of the neutron stars in Elite Dangerous spin way too slow. So that kind of wavy, quite placid thing that they do. That's way too slow. Most of them are spinning around really, 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 really fast, and crazily fast, hundreds of times per second. Because they're just the most bizarre things that you can possibly imagine, but they're real. They're actually out there in space. So dear old Michael Brooks, who was executive producer, I think, of Elite Dangerous between the kind of beginning when it was Kickstartering and about 2017, I think. Really set a nice tone for the astronomy and the realism and all those other bits and pieces, which, dare I say, has not been quite so emphasised since. That's as close as I'll get to a whinge. Anyway, here we are in the Achenar system. Okay, so this is the heart and soul of the Empire. We are now entering Imperial space. So there we go. And yes, so Michael Brooks did write a book for Elite Dangerous. You may not have come across it. What was it called? Somebody in the chat must know. Just trying to remember. What was his... Legacy. That was it. Legacy. There we go. So Legacy, you need to go and look it up on... I think it's on Amazon, or it's certainly in... don't break anything while being there, please. There we go. And the beauty here is that Achenar is this beautiful blue-white star. Okay, it's very, very different. Wing, please, says Banther. Let's see what I can do. I've got Delta 7 wing, says Banther. Can Can I see a bantha on my list? I can't. I don't know how this list organises itself. It just goes insane. We'll try again in a bit. Let me just take you to Achenar 6A, which is the absolute heart, the planet capital. Okay, we'll go to Dawes Hub. Let's head there. It's a little way out. Achenar is a massive solar system, actually. It's interesting. Look how far away Dawes Hub is compared to your kind of average travel time. One of the things that's quite interesting about this, Achenar being a massive blue-white star is way, way, way more powerful than the sun that we're used to. Okay, if the Earth was as close as it is to Achenar's star, the Earth would effectively melt, right? It's just a ridiculously powerful star. So any habitable planets that do really exist in the Achenar system, which is pretty unlikely actually, astronomically speaking, this system doesn't actually make a lot of sense from an astronomical perspective, would have to be a lot further away. And so at least that part of the simulation is done correctly, whereas the key habitable worlds in Achenar, the heart of the Empire, actually moons around a gas giant that's way, way, way out, as you can see in space. So that's it. So Michael Brooks wrote a book called Legacy. He also wrote a book actually called Sun Dragon, which I can definitely recommend. Sun Dragon is really rather good, So there's some good stuff there as well. So it's probably worth me, while I'm just flying here, it's probably worth me mentioning the other authors. So I mentioned Alan Stroud for Lave. There is T. James, who wrote, I'm just going to remember, this is a long time ago now, Out of the Darkness, that's right, which is all about the Thargoids. Okay, so that's worth reading. You've got John Harper, who wrote And Hear the Wheel, which has got some Dark Wheel stuff and some other lore bits and pieces about Soontil, which is a sort of Thargoid relic world which you can go visit in the game. And there is also Mostly Harmless by Kate Russell. So Kate Russell, who's a fairly famous BBC reporter, she certainly has worked for the BBC. I don't think she kind of works for the BBC. I think she's a freelance. It's probably the best way to describe it. But she wrote a book called Mostly Harmless, which is a comedy set in Elite Dangerous, which is good fun. And then you've also got Tales from the Frontier, which is an anthology of all sorts of short stories by multiple authors, which is also worth checking out. And obviously you probably know about my books as well, so you can dig those up at your leisure. They are pretty old now, to be honest. I've kind of consigned them to my history of things I did once. But all those books are still out there, and if you haven't genned up on your Elite Dangerous stories and stuff, and you still want to get into them, then they are there. So anyway, so here we are in the Achenar system, in a rather down at heels Cobra, I'm afraid. I should have come here in my Imperial cutter, but there we go. So Achenar is a big system. Okay, Achenar is a big system. But this is where the Empire hangs out. Okay, so this is the power central of the Achenar system. And again, if you look through all of the things here, the origins of the Empire, the Hall of Martyrs, the Imperial Palace, there's lots of lore to dig into in this system. The Hall of Martyrs is particularly cool, actually, in the lore. So the Hall of Martyrs is definitely worth checking out. I won't spoil that one, only to say that it's a fascinating building, and some of the martyrs, of which the building is named after, were not necessarily voluntary martyrs. Let's put it that way. See how it goes. Right, so I'm just popping in here. We need to just get a view of the Imperial homeworld before we move on. And we did have a little elite retribution plot here. Can we wing you in? I'll try. I can't find some of these names. This is the problem. You're probably going to be better to send me a wing invite rather than the other way around, because I've got Bantha. Maybe I can try that. There we go. See if that works. Did that work? I found the wing system was a little bit buggy, but let's see how it goes. Anyway, we're coming in now to Dawes Hub, so let's pause there. Then we will select a system to do our mass hyperspace jump in to. Let's see if we can get that to work. I can see quite a lot of other people in Super Cruise, which is cool. War with the Federation. There we go. Look. Alright, Bantha seems to be in the wing. I think I've got the leaving wing bug still. It's just stuck on the screen. They're sort of volunteer martyrs, except they were volunteered. Yes, so that's quite an interesting story to go and read. So lots of little lore tidbits. It's always worth, and these big systems with lots of history, going and looking at the Taurus beacons. You'll learn quite a lot about those. And if you're new to Elite, then one of the early things you can do to learn about the lore is to do the passenger missions, because the passenger missions will take you to some of the interesting lore places. Make sure you're just aware of how far some of them are, however, because there's some quite big things. Now that lovely Earth-like world there is Achenar 6A, the first world colonised for the Empire. Was in fact terraformed. Not originally an Earth-like planet, and in the terraforming process they killed off an indigenous species. So humanity doing what humanity does best. Ah, look, there's some life forms on this planet, let's kill them. And they did. So there we go. So anyway, this is us in the heart of the Empire. Now we do need to choose a place to jump from and to, so let's get that underway. Let's have a look at the galaxy map. Where is a kind of cool place? The MOT system. That's quite cool. If we should just go there for a laugh. Or Nu. The knights. We could be the knights who say Nu, couldn't we? Where should we go? Vakasi is a very famous system as well. That's worth checking out. But I think, is that one permit locked? I don't know if it is or not. I can't remember. Because I don't want to choose a permit locked system. Let's Erlich. That's an interesting one. The gender system. I wonder what happens there. Delta Phoenicius. That's a real place. Liabize. I think Nu. I like the idea of going to Nu. Let's go to Nu. Is there anything in the Nu system? There is a place we can rendezvous. Oh, actually, there's the SVS Venator, and there's the Burt. And Cyro Maya Tignikov Horizons. Goodness me, that's a bit of a mouthful. Let's head for the Venator. In the Nu system. Let's go somewhere. Let's go somewhere new. Is gender a non-binary system? That is a very good question. Let's find out. Look, we can be topical and everything, can't we? Where did the gender system go? I've lost it. MOT. Where has it gone? I've lost my gender. Let's find it. What is the gender system? There it is. Right, the gender system is. Oh, I can't tell from here. It has no star types. It has 3. Okay, there we go. It has 3. So it's got an M. Oh no, it's only got 2. There are only 2 types of star in the gender system. Oh well, never mind. That would be an obvious thing to fix, wouldn't it? Right, let's go to the Nu system. We will leave the heart of the Empire behind. Let's get to the Nu system, and then we will organise for our hyperspace jump. Okay, and I'll explain a little bit about how that works when we get there. So everybody to the Nu system. Let's go somewhere new. Dear. So there we go. Let's get across to the Nu system. In whatever ship that you've got. Okay. Now, so what we do is as we're getting to the closing stages of today's stream, we do as best we can 2 things. Right? It's a mass hyperspace jump. Okay. So we try and get all of our ships synchronized. Okay. Into the same instance, and try and break the frontier service. It's always appeals to me. Okay. So let's head for, because we need somewhere to rendezvous, let's head for the SFS Venator ship, which will be relatively close to the star. Okay, let's head there. I don't know who owns the the Venator, but that's it's going to suddenly have a whole load of starships descending upon it. So head there, and we've got a nice pretty star in the background as well. For our jump, and then we will set a target. Okay. Now we need to play with the game a little bit here. in order to get this to work. So veterans of my tours will know what we're about to do. Those of you who are new to this, we're going to have to explain a little bit how to make this work. Because Elite doesn't allow everybody into the same instance at the same time, we have to trick the game into allowing us in. Okay, so what we need to do is let me get into position and I'll explain, because I'm old and I can only do one thing at the same time. I can see a few people here already, which is good. Okay, so we need to let's get in position near to the Venator. There we go. That'll do. I'll just come to a halt. Now, if you are in the same instance as me, you don't need to do anything at this stage, okay? If you're in the same instance as me, don't do anything, all right? You're in the right place. The idea here is, if possible, to get your ship into the same instance as me. This is the objective of the game. Okay, so we got a lovely planet out there. Look at that. This is going to look good. This one. Okay, so we've got a nice planet, etc., etc., etc. So if you can see me, then you don't need to do anything. All right. If you can see me, you don't need to do anything. If you've just instanced into this area and you can't see me, you're obviously in the wrong instance. Okay, so what you need to do is we need to work together. So once I've got a few people in my wing here, what we need to do is wing people into your wing. Okay, add people into your wing. If you're in this instance, add people into your wing, and then get them to jump out of the instance using super cruise, and then jump back in here, and hopefully they will then instance with you and then hence instance with me. Once you've got them into the same instance, then you can drop the wing and invite other players who aren't in the wing, aren't in the instance, to wing in with you, and then they can repeat the process. The idea that we keep doing this until we have as many ships as possible inside the instance. So we are camped. So to know where we are camped at the SFS Venator fleet carrier. I can see an awful lot of people here already, which is good. So if you are in my instance with me, you don't need to do anything else. Okay. If you're not and you need a wing invite to get in, then use the wing invite to re-instance back into the same instance. Okay, is that clear? So everybody start doing it. If you can see people on your friends lists who aren't in the instance, send them a wing invite, bring them in, and and so on and so forth. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to do that. So I think the two people who are in my wing are currently in my instance, which is good. So I can drop them out of my wing, and then I can add some people who aren't in the instance. So what I need to do is just in the chat tell me who I can wing invite in. SP4 as I said there, so I can and Commander Newer, see if I can find. The problem with this is it doesn't always do it in order, but just keep doing that to anybody who's not here basically. Let me see if I can find any of these. I can see so many people. I saw Commander Kazak. I can try that one. I did see. There we are. I've got Commander Kazak. There we go. So invite you to wing. Who else have I got? Let's try another one. Commander. Loads of people needing invites. So it's not just me, okay? Everybody else invite people as best you can. All right. To see as many people in the same instance as we can get in the time that we've got. Which version of Elite I'm running? I'm running Horizons. Okay, you need to be using Horizons to join us for this 4-week trip. Divo I saw there on the list. Right, let me invite you to the wing. Okay, so Kazak, who is in my wing, if you can jump out and jump back in, you should be able to jump into my instance. Once you have that, once you're in my instance, don't do anything else. Okay. Just drop the wing and go and get other people and bring them in. Okay, if that makes sense. So that's what we're going to try and do. I can see Mr. Tulby. So there we are. I've got my wing full of people. Devil by Moonlight is here, but not in the instance, Mr. Drew. So see if you can get invited by somebody else. The more people who can get in, the better. And we'll see how many how many we can do before we bust the instance. This is when so there's a server in Amazon somewhere that's owned by Frontier that's now slowly beginning to smoke. Okay, so once you're in the instance with me, you've successfully arrived, and you can see my Cobra. Then you're in the right place. You don't need to do anything else for the moment. Okay, so keep doing that, my friends. Keep doing that for all of your commander colleagues out there. See if you can get them into the same instance as us. Nim Duskrin, there's a familiar name from the past. I can see the Frontier. Whose ship is that? Trying to get in front of the camera. There we are, Nim Duskrin, I can see you. Right, see if I can invite you to the wing. Okay, no, my wing is now full. So Kazak, Delivier and Deepat, if you can jump out, jump back in, and then once you're here, if you can drop the wing so that other people can have a go as well, that would be really, really good, because we're on a tight time scale. We've got 14 minutes left. We need to get as many people into the wing as possible. So that we can do this mass hyperspace jump. Okay. And even the NPCs are getting upset with us. There we go. I've got a friend request there. Let me just join that one. So how are Kazak and Divelia and Deepat doing? Are they here yet? How are we doing? What do you do when you are in a wing? So when you're in a wing, what you should be able to do is you should be able to jump into Super Cruise, and then jump back to where I am, i.e. at the SFS Venator, and it should bring you into the same instance that I'm in. That's basically what the wing invite does. So once you are in the right instance, you can see my Cobra. You're golden. Okay, you don't need to do anything else. Basically, if you are in the instance, if you can see my Cobra, please invite other players into a wing with you so that they can jump into the instance as well. Get as many ships in here as we possibly can, because the more ships we have, the better the hyperspace jump looks. Okay, I can see Kazak and Olivier are in Super Cruise on their way. Zenith needs a wing invite. Let me see if I can get him in. Where is Zenith? Down at the Zeds, right down the bottom. There we are. Right, that's a wing invite sent to you, Zenith. Hopefully you can see that. Keep bringing people in. Is my wing beacon on? That is a very good question, because it did reset, didn't it? Let me enable my wing beacon. That should allow you to see it. There we go. Right, Zenith is on his way as well. Anybody who's trying to get in, please, if anybody's in the instance already and has spare wing invites, please invite the players who are on the are making requests in the chat. Okay, we need to get as many wing people in here as possible, and get them in. So I can see them coming in. So let's have a look outside while this is happening. We have hopefully a stack load of ships all building up, which is excellent. We do. I can see ships all over the shop, and then we'll slowly get those organised as well. So yeah, there are lots of ships here, which is excellent. Awesome. Because the more ships we can get into the instance in the time that we have, the more we can see. So people are coming in. Right, Zenith is Kazat has just dropped the things. Let's try who was AMDTJE. See if I can see you on my list. I can't see you there. I can't see you on my list of people, unfortunately, which is a shame. Commander Mere Mortal. Let's see who else I can find. Golden Knight was asking for one, I know. Let me invite you. Sometimes, unfortunately, the usernames just don't show up, and I don't know why. It's just one of those things. Helmet needs one. I saw Helmet. There he is. Right, I can add you in. Right. Pressing the wrong button. I'm doing a direct message rather than an invite to wing. That's not what I meant to do. So keep doing that on behalf of all your other colleagues as well. Get as many commanders in here as we can. Golden Knight, right, invite to wing, there we go. Right, and I saw Mere Mortal, invite you to wing. What else have I got? That's probably my wing full again. So keep trying it, folks. The instance is filling up. This is good. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we had dedicated servers, right? Then we could just all be here. Okay, so I've got Mere Mortal, Golden Knight, and Divillier. If you can get into the instance by hyperspace, super cruising back to where we are, then please come and jump back in here, and we'll just keep doing that as long as we can. We have a few minutes left to do this. There's never enough time for everything that we want to do. This is the only problem. Just disable the voice comms because it does screw up with my OBS a little bit. Right, so Golden Knight can see the wing signal but no fleet. No. Sometimes the instinct just doesn't work. You may need to jump out and jump back in again, Golden Knight. See if that works for you. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. See if you can get into the instance. Too many people wanting. Oh no! So De Villiers is not able to do it, which is a shame. Sometimes it just doesn't work. I can't fix that. Unfortunately, it's just annoying. So many people wanted to get in. It's like. Sorry for those of you who get disappointed. If you find an instance that's full of people, you may be best off at this point staying with that instance. Okay, if you find a nice big populated instance, then it may be just worth going with that one. Okay, because we can synchronize it on the stream as best as we can. So I can see people trying to get in, but it does struggle a little bit. We've got quite a lot of ships here, so for those in my current wing who've been trying for a little bit, I'm going to drop you out and go for some new folks and see if we can get those. Apologies to those in the wing who haven't quite got here yet. Let's try a few other folks, see if we can get them in. Who have I got? Commander Aussie would like an invite. I can't see you on the list, Commander Aussie, unfortunately. It's not doing this. Oh no, there you are. Maybe that'll work. No, you're leaving a wing, or I'm leaving a wing. It's simple. It gets a bit buggy. Dare I say it? I can't invite anyone to a wing now. It's so annoying. We do our best. Cyber Diamond. Let's see if I can get any of you guys in at the moment. Anybody else who's able to do this as well, please keep trying to bring people into the instance. Cyber Army, there you are. Invite to wing, there we go. Okay, that one's sent. Let's try and get Aussie. I saw that one come up before. Why isn't it in alphabetical order as well? That's just so annoying. I don't know how it sorts this, but it doesn't sort it in a logical order. And some of it may depend on where you are in the world. I think it. There we are. AMGTU. There we are. I'll try you as well. There we go. Right. I've sent the wing invites. Hopefully you guys get them. So I haven't seen any. The wings aren't responding yet. No. I just busted this. Oh no, the game's crashed. Oh no. After all that work. No. Oh, it's properly crashed. Oh, I lost my stream. Whoa, what happened there? Whoa, did we come back? Yep, I think we're back. Are we back? I think we're back. Can everyone hear me still? Is the stream alive? Are we still here? Oh dear, oh dear. That was a complete mess. If you can still hear me, I am still recording. I'm still transmitting according to my my stream. Are you still there, everybody? Are people still there? My Elite Dangerous crashed in a massively big way. I think we went a bit too far. Ah dear. I'm just gonna refresh the chat. Is anybody there? I'm still here. Are you there? Are we back? Yes. Are there people's? My chat isn't working. My chat box isn't working for some reason. I don't know if OBS has had a problem. That was my Elite Dangerous crashed and it I think we went too far, folks. My ship just disappeared. All the instinct, I know. We're gonna have to do the best we can. What else can we do? We were so close. I was just literally about to press the button. Yeah, the game totally broke out on me there. Totally. I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was just too much for my internet or something. So let's try again. Maybe we created a black hole. Ah dear. Yes, we delved too deep. We unleashed the Balrog. Right, so I am here again. Right, there's a wing invitation. Let's try and get as many people together as we can in the time available to us. Right. I have a few people here. Am I in the right place? Is this where the Venator is? Yeah, the Venator is there. Let's get back there. So maybe this is the only time that Odyssey maybe is a good idea. Apologies, the chat is no longer working. Oh no, there it is. It's there it goes. It's coming back. It's coming back to life. There it goes. Right, there are quite a few people here. Failed to connect to comm server. What does that mean? I think maybe we've stressed the servers too much. Right, there we go. Right, I'm going to just turn around. Let's park up in front of the ship. Now, those of you who can see me, that's good. Let's try and get as many ships back as we can. We won't go quite too far as we did before. That was clearly too much. We do normally have these problems, I'm afraid. Let me switch my wing beacon on. That's only 2 crashes in one evening. That's not too bad. It brought you into my instance with a great crew. Hey, well, there's a few people here. Let's try bringing in a few people who thing. So hang on, who's on the list? I'm at TG. Let's going to try you again because you had a chance. So let's get a few people in. I've got a few people. Somebody is already in the wing. So again, let's try these as best we can. Let's try Golden Knight. Go on, give you another go. Again, if you are in my instance, try to get into. I can see quite a few people popping in, so that's quite good. So there are a few people. Can I try you again, Cyber Army? Yes, I can. If I can find you, here we are. So that's good. So anyway, we're kind of running out of time, alas. And this is the problem with these things. That's why we need to spend the last 20 minutes of the stream trying to get this to work. Again, if you are in my wing and you can send invites to other people, then do so. We'll call a cutout in about a minute or so because we need to kind of get on with this. So again, if you are here, form up behind my Cobra, and we'll do that. And we'll see what we can do. So again, if you're here, you can drop the wing. There are quite a few ships here. Apologies for that. What went wrong there? The game just crashed. But there we go. So annoying. I probably killed my poor little router. It's probably downstairs smoking away. Somewhere in the world there's no mushroom cloud or an AWS data. Yeah, I don't know whether something exploded or broke or whatever it happened to be. But there we go. Never mind. Right, so hopefully a few people are getting in. I can see some ships appearing, which is good. Let's just have a quick look around what we got here. I can see some ships flying around. As long as we've got some ships. So if you're in an instance where there are there's a bunch of ships, then just go with that. Okay, that's probably going to be the best. There's about 16 in my instance, but no Drew. Yeah, it's just sometimes it's down to the way it kind of works. I'm just going to let these guys who are in the wing hopefully jump into the system, see if they can get into the space, and then we will go. Now, I need to queue up. We need to queue up the music. Now, the trick here, okay, guys, while this sort of stuff, AMTJ can't see me. So annoying. Why doesn't the instancy work? Come on. Which is frustrating. We'll do one of these at the end of every stream. Okay, so if it doesn't work tonight, hopefully there'll be an opportunity in a future one, and we'll see how that kind of goes. Now, the way this works is, okay, we're going to pick a hyperspace destination point. So I'm just going to choose one from the galaxy map. Okay, so we are going to jump to. Let's go with it. We'll want somewhere fairly close so everybody can do it in their jump range. Coast to Cal will do. There we go. Coast to Cal. I'm going to put that in the chat just so everyone knows. That is the system we are going to jump to. Okay. So lock your hyperspace onto the Coast to Cal system. Don't jump. All right. Don't jump. Just lock your hyperspace onto the destination. Okay. That should give you a target, okay, to point at, which for me is down there, okay. And now we are going to take a stately fly away from the fleet carrier, okay, because we need to be out of mass lock range, okay. Now just wait for this anaconda to clear the front viewport. Right now, fly away at a stately speed. Now we normally choose about 100 kph, okay, or is it meters per second? I can't remember. It's the meters per second, isn't it? So try and get to about 100 meters per second, and you should be able to follow me. About, there we go, 101. So try and stay behind me if you can. Okay, try and stay behind me if you can. Get into formation. You should now be able to see my Cobra moving away. So 100 meters per second. Try and get information behind my ship. That's the way these things work. Okay, and if I look back, I should be able to see you guys. In my instance, that's the way these sort of work. So okay, there's a bunch of ships all queuing up. So you form a nice looking armada behind my ship. All right, that's the way they're supposed to work. So that's working quite well. Good, well done everybody. All right, that's how it's supposed to work. And if you're not in my instance, try and do the same thing, okay? And then you can just kind of enjoy the spectacle, okay? Awesome. Right, now I just need to do a few checks, so just tag along behind me, and we'll get this going. I like this bit. Right, so in order to synchronize the jump, we need to use the in-game timer. So at the top of your screen, you can see it on mine at the moment. As I'm talking on the stream here, it says 22:03:22. That's the in-game timer. All right. Okay. So the way this works is I will play some music, one of my famous MIDI compositions, and there's obviously only one choice for tonight because we've been talking about the historical games. So we will be using fairly obvious piece of music, but that piece of music is about 3 minutes long. Okay, so that we hyperspace, as it were, at the climax of the event, we need to set a time for when you're going to do the actual hyperspace. So the thing is now, my friends, make sure you're not at full throttle, but you're traveling at 100 meters per second. Now charge up your hyperspace drive, okay, but do not go to full throttle. Do not go to full throttle. So charge up hyperspace, okay, frame shift drive charging, ready to jump, but do not throttle up. Basically the trick is that you need to throttle up at a particular time, okay. That will ensure that all the ships jump at the same moment, okay. So your cue to jump is going to be 22:07 exactly. 07, come on, okay. 22:07 is the point at which I want you to throttle up, okay, and jump. Somebody has premature throttled up. Just jumped already. Don't do whoever that was, okay. Stay at 100 meters per second. Do not throttle up until 22:07. Right? Then it will work. Here we go, my friends. It's time for the music. And I just need to find it. There we go. Are you ready? Here we go. Don't be that guy. Server time 22:07. Throttle up. Music will be coming through now. I'm just going to mute my mic for the beam. Hyperspace jump complete, my friends. I'm going to make my own jump as well. Next time we will work harder on the instancing to make sure that's even more epic, but it's a start. It's a start, yeah. Make my own jump, there we go. Play along with the music. Yeah, so we need to work a lot on the instancing. So unfortunately we had the crash, otherwise that would have been a bit more epic than it actually was. But there we go. A reasonable hyperspace jump. There we go. Throttle up. Sadly, no server crash, which we managed at the start of Distant Worlds 2. Yes, that's definitely good. Bum, 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 bum. Right, there we go. That is the end of episode 1, my friends. Thank you very much for your company tonight. I hope you've had a good time, maybe learned a little bit of the lore and enjoyed a little bit of old school, I suppose, Elite Dangerousing. Yes, I'm still here. It's all good. The ship has survived the transition. I will see you once again for more shenanigans in space on the 07 tour next Thursday at 8 PM. Same place, same time, same bat channel for more of the same. We will be looking at strange places. So let me just, I'm just trying to remember where I'm supposed to be. What am I doing? Where are we going to be? We are going to be starting in the Permesh system next week. Okay, so Permesh. Let me just dump that in the chat. Everyone should know about the Permesh system, I hope, but that's where we are going to be next week. That's where we will start. Same place, same channel, same thing. For those of you who were able to join on the Hyperspace Jump, thank you very much. It was great to have your company. For those of you in different multiverse instances, I hope you had a good time as well. We will also be doing more of that sort of stuff in the future. For those of you watching on YouTube, hello! You have none of the instancy problems at all. For those of you playing on Xbox and PS 4 and 5, hopefully you were able to have some fun with that as well. Really, really cool. And yes, thank you all for making it a very special evening for me and joining in my first episode of the 07 Tour. 3 more episodes to go, my friends, and we will rendezvous in the Permesh system next week. Be good, have a fun time, have a fantastic rest of the week. Hope Friday is good. I'm back on Saturday morning if you want to join me for a bit of Wing Commander 3, some retro streaming. Back on Monday with some science fiction discovery chat, and then I will be back with more Elite Dangerous next Thursday. Take care, my friends, and as always and forever, right on, Commanders. See you soon out there. Fly safe.